Hi, I'm Steve White, President of the West Division of Comcast Cable in the United States. I'm so happy to be here with you today. I lead nearly 30,000 employees, and together we serve almost 10 million customers in 13 Midwest and Western states. We generate almost $18 billion in revenue each year. But guess what? My story didn't start that way. I was one of 4 boys raised by a single mother with an 8th grade education. She worked as a high school janitor for 35 years, but before that, she cleaned motel rooms. She would often bring her 4 little boys to help her clean those rooms. She was really teaching us life lessons about hard work, dedication, family commitment, and doing everything with excellence and inclusiveness. These formative experiences sparked me to want to be my best and to ensure others are provided the opportunity to be their best. I call it creating a table of prosperity for all. I truly understand what a diverse and inclusive environment looks and feels like, supported by equal opportunity to be your absolute best. I firmly believe that creating an environment at work and within our society that provides equal opportunity and inclusiveness is critical. It's one of our greatest challenges and opportunities as a world, and if my lessons and what we're trying to do at Comcast can help, then I'm more than happy to join you on this journey. Like many of your businesses, Comcast has been on a journey focused on diversity and inclusion for years. In fact, it has been one of our core values and central to our culture since Ralph Roberts founded our company in Tupelo, Mississippi in 1963. Following the horrible and heart-wrenching killing of George Floyd by a police officer in Minnesota and the resulting civil unrest, more people in the U.S. and the world were awakened to the realities of racism and unfairness. We realized that we could, and should do more. We swiftly mobilized and accelerated our work around diversity and inclusion with an added focus on equity and equality. Our company, under the leadership of Chairman and CEO Brian Roberts, made an extraordinary 3-year, $100 million commitment to fight injustice and equality against any race, ethnicity, ability, sexual orientation, or gender identity. Dedicated leadership teams were quickly established across all parts of our business to fulfill that commitment, but also to assess where and how we can improve within our company and our communities. I have the privilege of leading this work for the cable division in addition to my continuing responsibilities for leading the West Division. So now I have a day job and a night job. Our leaders were intentional in selecting me, a leader who also has day-to-day business and line responsibility. The reason, and this is important, it's not only because elevating diversity, equality, and inclusion is the right thing to do, it's just plain good business. Since then, we've pulled together a diverse group of leaders from across the cable business to form our Diversity, Equality, and Inclusion Council, focused on inspiring employees to feel proud and empowered to bring their entire authentic selves to work. Secondarily, we believe if we do this right, we can be a beacon of light and inspiration to other companies and institutions within our communities. I'll share examples of the initiatives in flight specifically tied to the cable division as we talk through the importance of marrying diversity and inclusion with business needs and success. Today, I'll share a perspective on 4 key questions we sit and discuss regularly. Number 1, how does D&I fit into our overall business strategy? Number 2, measuring impact. What does success look like in our business? Number 3, how can we at Comcast ensure that D&I initiatives are not just a box-checking exercise? And then finally, how are we working to inspire the next generation of telecom and tech professionals? Why does diversity and inclusion represent such a significant priority for our business and for us as business leaders? Yes, companies with a diverse workforce, we know this, are better equipped to serve diverse customers and communities. We know this. And yes, employees who are empowered to be themselves and know they are valued members of the team are more likely to bring their best and contribute more to the business. But guess what? It doesn't end there. The potential benefits of diversity and inclusion are compelling. According to a new study by Citigroup, the impact of discrimination against African Americans over the last 20 years has cost the United States $16 trillion in gross domestic product. This enormous price tag represents lost potential and opportunities directly tied to racial discrimination in wages, education, housing, and business loans. The study adds that if we address this discrimination and close the gaps, it could add $5 trillion to the U.S. GDP over the next 5 years. I think you can agree that's an enormous opportunity for businesses serving the United States. A similar analysis through the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development says countries that close the gender gap could add up to 15% of GDP to their economies. And there are dozens of other studies that reinforce diversity and inclusion as smart business strategies. Companies that have more diverse management teams have 19% higher revenue due to innovation, according to a study by the Boston Consulting Group. And here's another one. And a McKinsey study suggests businesses with executive teams in the top quartile for ethnic and cultural diversity are 33% more likely to have industry-leading profitability. There clearly is a business case for diversity and inclusion in the workplace. The second question, how do we truly measure impact? Well, guess what? Measurement starts with a clear understanding of what your organization is working to accomplish. And in all parts of a business, metrics help identify priorities, track progress, target in on risk areas, and reinforce accountability. Critical. The tactical numbers are important, but we need to have a strategic framework around them. Our lens at Comcast Cable provides both a strategic and tactical view. So strategically, the way we measure an impact at Comcast, our Diversity, Quality, and Inclusion Council is focused where we can have a unique impact. Think of them as the 3 Ps: people, purchasing, and philanthropy. The first P, we start with people within Comcast. To check where we are, data is always a strong place to start, and we have. We're also interviewing vice presidents and above across the business for their insights. In addition, we've connected with our employee resource groups, voluntary employee-led organizations formed around common demographics, backgrounds, and interests for feedback and partnership. Also, from a talent perspective, we have committed to diverse slates, succession plans, and pipeline programs for all leadership positions. But people don't just represent inside Comcast, but also outside Comcast. We've established a digital equity focused on affordability and accessibility as our way of impacting individuals and communities. Internet Essentials is our program to link low-income families to the internet. Now we're introducing Lift Zones in partnerships with nonprofit partners. They are safe spaces in neighborhoods where students, families, and community members can go and safely connect to the internet. And bringing all audiences together, we're leveraging our platforms like X1, our TV and entertainment service, and Flex, our streaming service, to amplify multicultural content, building on our commitment to educate, inform, and inspire. The second P is purchasing. We've also started with data as we looked at purchasing. Comcast has a robust supplier diversity program in place. Almost 25% of our spend goes to minority or women-owned businesses today. We're very proud of that, but we know we can do more. We're focused on 2 key areas: concentrating more on Black and Brown-owned businesses and tying everyone's goals, including mine and all of our leadership, to ensure we continue that progress. I'm very proud that we've also committed funds and resources to help small and medium-sized businesses affected by extended closures because of COVID-19 and those that were impacted by social unrest. This includes a new program we are in the process of developing that offers advertising, insights, and technology support. The third P, philanthropy. We have a strong foundation focused on nonprofit and community organizations that serve diverse populations and promote and protect equality and justice. I'm very proud of our efforts. We have now committed an additional $100 million to that cause. How do you tactically measure impact on business? I thought I would share a few examples of metrics we use within Comcast to track diversity and inclusion. Workforce representation refers to the percentage of diverse employees within an organization, and very importantly, at every level. Employee sentiment. How are employees feeling? Are they engaged? Are they motivated? What issues do they see or experience? At Comcast, we use the Net Promoter System, which includes regular employee surveys, huddles, and escalations to ensure we're gathering feedback. That, along with team and one-on-one meetings, provide insight into what employees are feeling and encountering. As you know, happy, engaged employees and a culture that values and supports them may have the biggest impact of all. They become a magnet for diverse talent and helps us provide an even better customer experience that adds unique value to our products and services that go way beyond price. People and culture are what separates good companies from great ones. Supplier diversity is our next major measurement. How much of our procurement spend is with diverse or minority-owned vendors? Community impact. What audiences are you reaching and supporting in your community? What issues and initiatives are your business connected with? The next measurement is brand affinity. How does your brand resonate with diverse audiences? Do they or would they choose your brand over another one? The next tactical measurement is market share. Ultimately, customers vote with their wallet. What share of diverse communities are your customers? The third question we sit with and discuss regularly: how do we make sure this is more than a box-checking exercise? One of the pitfalls that every business can fall into is focusing on numbers alone. It's important to understand the data and make sure leaders with influence understand it as well. But that's just a start. Diversity and inclusion should be alive in the business, woven into the culture and influencing how the organization operates. It fosters open thinking, innovation, and new ways of seeing things. There are many ways to keep diversity and inclusion robust and thriving. Make it one of the values of the business and make it clear that it is a priority for top leadership. Create accountability through thoughtful metrics and incentives. Be intentional and take a disciplined and organized approach to listening and capturing input and guidance from employees as well as your communities. Celebrate employees who engage in and support diversity and inclusion. Best of all, as we achieve a diverse, equal opportunity and inclusive workforce, it will organically create a constant positive tension to help us course correct. Our people will help ensure it never becomes about checking the boxes. Question number 4 that we sit with: how can we inspire the next generation? Our businesses need to think in terms of their greater purpose, their reason for being beyond strictly profit. Diversity and inclusion should be a natural extension of that. We need to define diversity and inclusion not as a program, but as part of our DNA. Your people will know it, and your culture will show it. To pay it forward to future generations, we are starting with our own employees. Over the last few months, we've held listening sessions with employees to give their voices and their stories airplay. We've invited them to join councils and task force to share their ideas at every level of the organization. And we are having our first ever Diversity, Equality, and Inclusion Day, week, and month, where every employee in the business will learn more about diversity and inclusion, unconscious and implicit bias, and have team conversations about what it means to them. We are sharing the power with our employees and letting them share their examples, and we're modeling our commitment through our actions. And finally, we need to connect the dots between doing the right thing and how, by doing the right thing, you can deliver exceptional results for our employees, for our customers, our communities, and our investors. As I close, here's our collective challenge and opportunity. As leaders in our businesses, we play a critical role in creating and nurturing a culture of diversity and inclusion. We cast long shadows. Our teams are watching how we act and react, looking for cues. So what can we do? It starts, number one, with getting out of our own comfort zones. We need to listen and learn from our employees, and we need to study the experience of others. We need to be willing to explore and grow from our own biases, conscious and unconscious, so we can live and act with greater awareness. We need to truly understand and have conversations about why diversity and inclusion are important to our businesses, our teams, and to us. We need to lead by example and make decisions that reflect our commitment to diversity and inclusion. That may mean going deeper to find more diverse candidates and pools, or providing growth and stretch opportunities for people to learn and to lead, or being keen advocates for professional development that enable employees to reach their full potential. Finally, we need to accept that we won't always get it exactly right. Neither will our teammates. But through our conscious intentions and efforts, we will get it right more and more often. At its best, leadership is a verb. It's about setting an example. It's about inspiring. It's about making a difference. And it's about creating more leaders. In closing, as I fast forward many years after those lessons learned in that motel room, I think about my 7-year-old son, Stevie. I find great power in reflection, and one question I think is particularly interesting: what advice would you give your childhood self as it relates to living a life of bridging the gap for others? My answer? It's more work to be a leader than a follower. But when you recognize the difference you can make for others, it's worth the extra effort. Thank you for listening.